What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? I am back here with another video, and today, oh boy, what do we have to talk about today? The UFL dropped a bomb today. They have announced that they are going to begin the expansion process. Now, I don't know about y'all. I'm shocked. I thought they were definitely going to wait about like 2 or 3 seasons into having 8 teams. Nope, they said, we did 1 year. Well, we know this year will be a success, which is good confidence. And they're just going to go right into it and, finish this season, obviously, with the 8 teams. They're going to expand. And I'm sure we'll figure out sometime way before, because I'm very curious on how the process of expansion is going to work. Mainly because I just don't understand how they're going to introduce a new team. Like, they kind of get screwed because you can't really just pick a quarter, like I'm assuming, like, do they get first dibs on draft, on the rookies and the people coming out of college. They have to figure out how to sign a big fish, when it comes to quarterbacks. And it's very intriguing. Now, we're going to talk about this. Where do we think they're going to go? At the end of the day, I think they want to bring back all of their former teams. I think that when the league continues to grow, and who knows, by the time it's 2030, 36, maybe we're looking at the UFL saying, holy crap, it's big, and now everybody wants to join. I am very curious on how they're going to work this out. Now, of course, I've already seen people be like, oh, what about Seattle? What about Vegas? What about LA finally coming back? What about New York? What about Florida? One of the Florida teams coming back. What about this, that, the other? I am going to stop everyone right there. I don't think they go to the West Coast. I don't see it. I don't think they're going to go to Seattle yet. Seattle is, too far. I think they understand that the fan base is there, but when they consider the money and the logic, it's like, okay, we have to pay for an NFL stadium as well as pay for a trip, flights from Dallas to there, and that's a lot, especially when it's a hub city still. Like, they still do the hub city format. It's a lot of money, and I don't think they're going to do it. For people that are like, what about New York or LA? I mean, don't take out New York, but I just don't think they want to do New York yet. I don't think they want to go LA yet. I think they want to continue. I think they need to build these smaller markets. If they went to California, I think San Diego has to happen first before you go to any other market. For people that were curious about Vegas, listen, I live in Vegas. I loved when the Vipers were here. Here's the problem. The XFL didn't know how to promote for shit. And if we don't recall, and I just want to make this clear. People that continue to take a crap on my city like it was our fault. No, first of all, if we don't recall, they figured out a place to play like a week and a half before the season started. And then when they decided, they put it on the worst side of town to make sure, hey, let's have the families and friends enjoy a game at this field in probably one of the sketchiest parts of town. That was on them. Yeah, because you're going to get locals to go there. They didn't promote on TV at all. They didn't promote on anything. Not a text like the political parties do. Nothing. They don't do a single thing. But we took the blame for it. Recall, they didn't want to pay for Allegiant. They could have had a great stadium, and hell, I would have gone to every game if it was at Allegiant. That's their fault. I don't think they come to Vegas. I don't think they go past Arizona. Now, personally, I think they need to invest in college cities like Boise State. Putting a team in Idaho would be intriguing. Putting a team in Utah. I know the AAF tried to do that. I wonder if you can try to get something going there. Maybe they do one in Arizona. I think Albuquerque would be intriguing because they don't have a sports team, a major sports team. I mean, they have AAA, baseball. They have a soccer team, but they don't really have football, and I think it would be intriguing. They could play at the Lobo Stadium. I think it could work. I don't see it happening. The two teams that popped out to me just because geographically, when you just look at the area, all the teams are on the East Coast. I'm looking at a map right now. When you consider the teams you already have, so you have 3 Texas teams, right? You have Arlington, you have San Antonio, and you have Houston. All right. Then you have the Birmingham Stallions, the DC Defenders, you have the St. Louis Battlehawks, the Michigan Panthers, and you obviously have the Memphis Showboats. So where, oh where, would the next 2 spots be? Well, when you look in the area, Kentucky, Louisville, Kentucky to be exact. I wouldn't be shocked if Louisville, obviously college football town, I think bringing some, a spot there would be intriguing. And right above Kentucky, where's that? Obviously you have Indiana, but you have Ohio. You have Cincinnati, you have Cleveland, but importantly, you have a place that's been in between both the Browns and the Bengals. Columbus has the Blue Jackets. Well, now you could have a UFL team. And geographically would make sense. There's no team further away from you. There's no team closer. It works perfectly, and you're continuing to move up. And obviously, you're closer to DC with those 2 teams, which means you're not really going too far away from expanding, but also you're not going out of your way for flights. Like, you're not paying more money to just have them go to places further than Washington. Well, I guess you can't say that for Pittsburgh because Pittsburgh is, I guess, probably around the same area, but New York. I know a lot of people want to see New York, Philly, New Jersey, one of those teams come back from the XFL and the UFL or USFL, but I just don't think it's going to happen. Could we see a potential Florida team? I don't know. I don't know if that should be the idea. But we'll see. I just don't think it's going to happen. The highly probability of those 2 teams I just mentioned are high. Would they also, but that's not just, and I'm not just trying to say this because, blah, blah, blah. Who knows? They can go to Oklahoma. Like I said, I think what you have to do here is to continue to grow your sport and to grow your game. I know that you want to go to those big market cities and you want to go to those places. And I know that LA seems like a great place to go, and same with New York. But then you think about, okay, well, just how is it going to sustain there? Is anybody going to care in those big places? But if you go to a college town, the probability is higher. And I think that a lot of people would say it's lower, but it's higher. If you put a team in Albuquerque, New Mexico, who the only teams they have are not major, crazy, televised places, you could then have their city be shown in the UFL. I think they would love that. And that, honestly, the only West Coast teams that make sense to me are Albuquerque and Denver, because those are the closest places to Dallas. And I think that the flights there wouldn't be as dramatic as if you were taking it to San Diego or Seattle or Vegas, and I definitely think that if I had to put money on it, I think that they would put a team in Ohio. It's a football state. You obviously have 2 teams there already. You put them close to Michigan, and you're, like I said, you're continuing to keep them all in one side of the United States, which then helps your process better when you continue to grow, because then you could just start expanding from those markets. I say that when they expand west, I think that's when you'll see a lot more west teams come in. But then I'm curious on how they're going to split divisions, right? It's still so wonky. Now, which team would go where? If you had to ask me that, that's a great question. I don't know why I think Columbus probably would go to the USFL division. But we'll see. It could go to the XFL division. I think it all depends. When you truly think about it, let's just look at those teams I just mentioned. If Columbus were to get a team, technically the rival that would be there is the Michigan Panthers. And I think that obviously they play in Detroit. That's not that far away from Detroit, so I wouldn't be shocked. And then when you look at Louisville, the closest team to them is St. Louis. So realistically and geographically, that would probably go into your divisions. You would split those in half. Um, would I love to see all the teams from the former, the teams from the former leagues obviously come back? Yes, I think it would be cool to see a Pittsburgh team, maybe even a Philly team come back, or a New Jersey team, or Tampa, Orlando, Vegas, LA, Seattle. Absolutely, but at the end of the day, they need to be smart with the expansion process, because if they don't, it could bite them in the butt. And I think that going shorter, going to places that are closer, aren't going out of your way. Like, you're going, no offense to the people from Seattle, because it's not just, Seattle is just a hard place geographically. You're the furthest. You have to travel the most. Like, imagine having to fly back and forth every other week when you have a home game. And that's the problem. Like, that's the good thing about them having a hub city, but then it's also the question, when are the hub cities no longer going to be a thing, right? Like, the hub cities at one point will probably die and everybody's going to have their own facility. That's the goal, I'm sure, but yeah, we'll have to see. Let me know what you guys think. I definitely am going to put my money on maybe a team from Ohio. I think Columbus just makes the most sense. Um, if I had to just say, screw the expansion, let's see if they bring back a returning team. If they're bringing back a returning team, the likelihood of it being like Tampa, Orlando are higher, I think, than anybody else. I just don't think they would bring back Pittsburgh or anybody else. Um, you know, I a long shot, I don't think it would happen, but a long shot would be um, New Orleans, because I think that you could automatically have them have a rivalry with Houston, who are now in the USFL division. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. At the end of the day, I can't wait to. I'm happy that they're doing this. That means that we're getting more and more time that we'll be able to see more teams, and that you're already at 10 teams. So it will be intriguing to see what happens next. Let me know what you guys think. Like this video, like to comment down below. Dominate the world, because David Dominators out. Peace.